going to do this, because this is a free marketing opportunity.
Yes.
Okay?
And I did bring some samples. And you know what, the other thing is too, let me just say this. I started my company as a sustainable company, and when I started, most people didn't understand what sustainability was and about reusing certain components and all. And now in the last like 2 years, it's like, oh, I finally have a birthplace, you know? That people are starting to understand about energy and recycling. But I started my company that way, so I really have the history. And that's one good thing about it, that I didn't switch over, because now that's the end thing. You know, it really has worked for me. And also I want to mention too, the networking. Like I'm also the co-chair for the advisory council for the Institute of Sustainability. And also putting yourself out there, like Joyce said, I didn't know this, but when I called up the dean, I didn't know the dean didn't know me, but I set up an appointment with the dean to have lunch with me, and he paid for it. And then, you know, one thing led to another. So don't always be afraid that people are not going to communicate with you if if you're there, if you have an idea. Because people are looking for people to come to them. Everybody can't come to you.
And one of the things I want to say about what Patricia has done, by becoming co-chair of the Sustainability Council, she has just given herself instant credibility.
Yes.
She must be an expert in that field. Otherwise, how could she have this position? So what happens is that when you find opportunities to partner with organizations like this, you actually are able to borrow the credibility of the organization and establish yourself as an expert. I just met Patricia. I did say to her, I wish I had met you last week, because last week we ran a commerce, Walmart panel that I moderated. PepsiCo was there. And I was just thinking, I have a customer for you, the guys that run all the casinos. They're very interested in repositioning and branding themselves as a hotel, casino, resort business that is eco-friendly. So these are the kinds of things that happen at these events, and I will definitely keep in touch with Patricia now that I know that she exists. And so this is a real live example of how she may have actually gone quite a few miles just by showing up here, and no amount of pounding at doors would have produced a similar result, because I will make a direct introduction to the individual who's actually buying. Yeah. Yeah, so that's
another rule that I have too. Whenever I go to any event, whether it's a dinner, the rule is that I cannot go there unless I come back with some kind of result. And if you keep that in your mind while you're at the event, you're always open to looking and hearing for an opportunity. And I have never failed at that. Every opportunity I have, I follow up. Some things don't work out. Sometimes you go back to the person 6 months later and say, you know, I met you at blah, 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 blah. And I say, oh, yeah, you were right. And, you know, you keep their business card. Because you're not going to be able to keep up with everybody that you meet. But you'll know that somewhere, sometimes I'll meet someone and I'll say, you know what, I know I'm going to use this person in another 6 or 8 months, and then I'll come back and revisit it. And you just have to, sometimes, I make people just remember who I am, you know? Sometimes I'll say the detergent lady, or I'll say Queen of Soaps, or something like that. So, you know, you start to identify who you, so that people, sometimes they don't remember your name, but they'll remember something specific about you. So, that's one of the things that I do. And you want to ask a question?
I thought that was like Epsom salt or something.
This is my new packaging for laundry detergent.
I thought it was like...
Yeah, when I first started, I started in a bucket. I had a powder, and it was reusable, recyclable. And this is another way of telling you, the reason I put it in a bucket, because I was cleaning up my son's room, and I was putting the potato head into the plastic bucket. And I said, oh, this is great. This is what I should put my detergent in. That's how that came about. And so that was always recyclable and reusable, scoop everything. And then when I went to go into Walmart, they said, oh, I want it to look more like a detergent. So this is my detergent that looked more like a detergent, but it was natural. So this is my liquid from that. Now I'm going into the 21st century, and I'm probably, when it comes to actual laundry detergent, probably the first or second person who's doing it in that. And you know, it actually measures it out, so you don't need a cup of scoop. And my carbon footprint, I was just in, I drew my carbon footprint by 78%. So those are the things, you know, you can talk about as you're marketing, like a bottle goes 4 in a case, this will go like 8 in a case. So everything is, right. So, you know, you have to look at ways of what's going on out there right now, you know, green is in, so you can get to see how you market your company as a green company, but at the same time, you're also offering other services. So,
and she's saving money on the bottom line, because it costs less to ship more And that's essentially what's happening, and it's costing her less in terms of the packaging. So by going back and reviewing, you constantly review what the cost of operations are, she's making very significant difference.
Because even if you look at when you purchase just, you might have, like, here, you're looking at the cat analog. Here, you're looking at, this is a label, so the label is actually pressed into the plastic. Here, it's printed, this comes in already, there's no cap that you can have to buy separately. And storage, this is flat, it's little, this stays inside, so it's boxes, bottles. You get to think more boxes like 4 family in cash. You're now using up a third of storage space before you go to production. So there's a lot of significance here as far as being eco-friendly. Now, the only thing about this is not yet recyclable as far as going into a recycle bin. It's basically like using green drinks. There's new technology coming out so that this can be used, like we do recycle it, it's used for some other production. So, but at the same time, which a lot of people don't know, depending on your municipality, some municipalities wouldn't take this product. It goes into the landfill. So you have to really understand the environment and the recycling, and a lot of people don't know that. This can definitely be incinerated where they use where energy is reused, renewable energy. So, you know, it's not going to be absolutely perfect, but there's a lot of ways to make it better. That's what you're looking at.
I'm actually with the Economic Development Corporation. I myself went to speak there a few times, including in Brooklyn. They facilitate a lot of networking for startup businesses, or business with taxes, with financial planning, with business plans, different legal issues. And I myself hired people that came through to just hear or to network and get different connections in the various businesses, the various industries that you guys are at. So it's a great tool, and they have local branches in the different boroughs, in Brooklyn and Staten Island, in Manhattan.
And to give Orly a plug, if you get an email inviting you to one of her social networking events, it'd be a big mistake for you not to go.
Which we, by the way, held just now, a week ago, on one of our boats, the Eco-Ventures Music Cruise, which had about 400 different either business owners or people from local businesses that came to literally network, enjoy the cruise, of course, on the Hudson River, and great live music. But you can go on the website and check, and that's something that we're trying to facilitate in coordination with the different business summits that we're producing in the future.
And that's Social Venture Network?
No, Social Venture Network is a different organization, which is fabulous on its own, and I'm actually proud to be a member of. You should check that, because they really do a lot of good things for the community, and there's a lot of power and resources come out of that organization. We are Eco-Ventures, which is the company who that produced the summit today, the event today. They did the Queen's Green Business Summit. We specialize in green summits, which basically give attainable, measurable, sustainable business practices to small businesses that basically can let them engage in the green, society, current society today.
But just make sure she has your email before you leave, because they're very good at letting you know about events, not just their own, but also within the community itself. And you've just got to get yourself out there and network. You would be very surprised at the opportunities that you can have in just networking. The Chambers of Commerce are holding business networking opportunities more and more. And one of the things that I'm sure Pat would confirm is that when it comes to selling to corporations, selling to government contracts and so forth, you've really got to be in their face. They need to know that you're serious. It's not enough for you to simply apply for certification as a minority or woman-owned business, but you've got to be constantly, persistently present so that they're aware of you. Because I know this happens with myself. If I'm thinking of a project and a particular person walks into my office, I say, oh, I could use them, and that would be the individual that I would ask. The same thing happens in these kinds of